Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabakoff, producer and host of In the Kitchen with Bonnie. Each week we visit in the kitchen of one of Kansas City's many celebrated chefs to show their artistry in the kitchen, talk with them about their journey to this profession. We have had the very good fortune of being in the kitchen at Lidia's, and today for a special feature we're going to chat with Lidia Bastianich herself. Lidia, thank you for inviting us into your kitchen.
Buongiorno, benvenuta.
I know buongiorno is the other one I'm not as familiar with. Lidia, you've had a very impressive journey and you've overcome some challenges that other chefs haven't. Coming from Italy, tell us about your time there and your journey to America.
Well, Bonnie, let me just set it up sort of.
Okay.
I come from an area that was Italy, it's Istria. Okay. And after World War II, as the spoils of war, that area was given to the newly formed Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia was communist, the Iron Curtain went up, and we were caught behind the Iron Curtain right on the border of Italy, by Trieste.
What year was this? 1940?
48, 47, 48,
okay.
into the 50s.
Okay.
I was just born around that time.
Yes.
And of course we got caught behind it. So for a few years, you know, my parents remained there, but of course we were ethnic Italians. Under communism, you couldn't go to church, you couldn't speak Italian. And ultimately in 1956, they planned almost an escape back to Italy. My mother, my brother, and I were allowed to leave. They wouldn't leave the whole family. And my father escaped the border at night. We all met in Trieste, where we had relatives, because that's the other side of the border.
Yes.
And we stayed with them for a while. I guess my parents tried to settle in, but it was difficult to find jobs. And we ultimately ended up in a political refugee camp in Trieste.
Do you have a memory of this? Very distinct?
I do. Very distinct. I was 12.
You
from
do
10
have
to
a
12.
Oh,
Yes,
you do.
at the time. And we stayed for 2 years there, awaiting a visa to a country, a free country that would ultimately take us. And in 1958, it was Dwight Eisenhower was the president. He approved the immigration of refugees fleeing from communism, and we fell into that category.
Thank goodness.
And we came to the United States in 1958.
So you had a vivid memory of this, and I know the role Catholic Charities and Catholic Relief played in getting you to America.
Right.
How were they helpful with this?
In every single way. You know, I think that the Vatican and all its arms, the charity arms, were involved in taking care of us, feeding us, housing us while in Italy, and also the transportation and bringing us to the United States, and ultimately handing us over to the Catholic Charities and the Catholic Relief Fund here in the United States. And so you can imagine, you know, a family, young family, we had nobody here.
Displaced. You were displaced. Yes.
We came to New York. We had a social worker from the Charities coming to greet us at the airport. Ultimately, they placed us in a hotel on 37th Street in New York, I remember, and began looking for a home for us, a job for my father, for my mother. And after 2 months, they did find a little home for us and a job for my father in New Jersey. And our life began in America as Americans.
So you have those memories of those early days when you were displaced, and of course the generosity and the caring of this organization, which I think has stayed with you. I mean, it shows on the plate and in your food, that generous spirit that is you.
Well, it's, you know, it is, you know, you can help it if even though I was young, you know, I sensed the tremendous pressure and tension on my parents in bringing their children into the unknown, a world across the ocean. We had nobody here, and so all that was very much part, and it is part of who I am and how that sensitivity of being ultimately helped. And I mean, if I think that I represent the American success story. So from that displaced family and person into being very well placed in the American market today, you know, it didn't happen by itself. We had help, and I appreciate that. And that's part of what I feel I need to do as well, to continue that caring and that helping along whenever an opportunity is there.
Your executive chef here in Kansas City, Dan Swinney, believes that that is very much a part of what you do with your leadership. He has felt your support and your guidance as a chef. So for you to know that how you feel and how you have managed your staff is alive and well with them.
Well, I appreciate that because, you know, one always questions, you know, you come to this life and you're given different opportunities. And how was I shaped? What shaped me? I have to tell you a story, yes. Bonnie. You know, when we were in this hotel in New York, we would go weekly to the social worker at the Charities, and they would, you know, ask, okay, how are you doing, what you're doing. They would give us money to eat because my father wasn't working or whatever. Yeah. And my mother was very frugal. She was so afraid, you know, to spend the money. So our menu consisted of bananas because they were a specialty. You know, we didn't have bananas back when I was young. Milk and bread, Wonder Bread. So this was the main, you know, and she would really. So when we went back,
she was afraid the money would go away, or
she was afraid that she was incurring this big loan debt that she would need to. How was she going to pay it back? Yeah. So, but the social worker, you know, we would come back, and she would show her, you know, listen, I didn't spend on the money, and the social worker said, no, feed these children, spend it.
Besides bananas, milk, and Wonder Bread.
Yes, and so, you know, this generosity of being given something without asking return kind of stayed with me, and I think, you know, I was blessed in many ways.
Oh yes.
And if I have this blessing, I need to share it.
Well, we're very appreciative of what you shared, but you've shared more than that. You have brought your culture to us through your food. I will tell you, I'd never eaten a frico until this is a very memorable experience.
That's friuli.
That we knew Italian food for the most part as a southern Sicilian, lots of red sauce. I never knew Italian food tasted like this until you came to Kansas City.
When I came and I started to cook, I cooked the food that we ate. So I cooked very much regional food, and I think that, you know, maybe I was one of the first ones, and I cooked the food.
You were the first one here. I mean, I had never known that type of Italian cooking food until you.
Bonnie, what's so special, I think, this connection that you say that I have, that I bring to America, is that I was blessed with, I think, because I feel very American, I came here at 12, with two of the greatest cultures in the world, the American culture and the Italian culture.
Having been to Italy, I might agree. It's one of my favorite countries.
And, you know, I think that it's
so loving and warm,
my desire, my want to bring my two cultures together, and I do it with food.
Yes, well, you know, that's near and dear to our hearts is food, and it couldn't be a more touching and poignant way to do it. Now, I understand you have thanked the Catholic Church in a very specific way. Did you not cook for the Pope? I mean, how else do you say thank you but cook for the Pope? What did you cook? We need to know what you prepared.
You know, I'm involved as much as I can in giving back in the Catholic organizations, and when Pope Benedict, I think 2 years ago, came to the United States, I was asked to cook for him. Now, to tell you the truth, Bonnie, when I was asked, I says, I mean, is this real?
What and did we have to know what you made?
Absolutely.
Wasn't it frico, I take it?
No,
okay.
No, the first meal was, we had all the cardinals, and it was a Friday, so I made a whole roasted fish. But, you know, Pope Benedict is German, of course, and his mother was a chef, so I did a little research. I wanted to kind of, first of all, make him come, because food does all kinds of things.
Yes, it
It
does.
gives love, it heals, and whatever.
Yep.
I wanted to sort of heal him from his travels in a way, so I made him a great capon soup with little agnolini.
I'm well already.
Then I made the cacio e pepe ravioli, the ravioli with some cheese, and then we made a big stribes. The stribes was running beautiful, and that was the first night. But then the second night, it was actually his birthday and an anniversary of his papacy. Okay. So we were. I made goulash.
It's German.
With spetzels. I made apple strudel. And the Bastianich wines, and we had a real good time. And you know that he even, so when I was serving him, and at the end we brought this big birthday cake, and we put it in front of him,
Yes.
and we gave him a knife. So I was right behind him, and with his knife, I didn't know what to, so I took his hand, and we cut the cake.
Together.
Yeah, like a wedding.
Yeah.
And he looked at me with such a smile, because
An appreciation.
I'm comfortable, I open up, I kind of relate to this man in a way. And he looked at me and I says, "Did you enjoy it?" And he said to me, "These were my mother's flavors. I knew I did it."
You did
Yeah.
it. You arrived.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to accomplish with your food, with your diners? What do you want them to experience when they are at Lidia's?
Well, I want them to feel at home. I want them to be happy, enjoy, to be satiated. I want them to get a taste of Italy. I want them to sense my care and my passion in the food. I want all of that for them.
You've succeeded, Lidia. You've succeeded. That's wonderful. Well, I want to thank you for taking time to visit with us, for bringing such a fabulous restaurant to Kansas City, for being a pioneer in the Freight House District and the Arts Center. You've been all of that to us. We're grateful that Catholic Charities and Catholic Relief provided you an opportunity to come to our country.
Yes, they did. They were at the escorts that got me to this great country.
Well, you've done a great job since you've arrived. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Debbie.